Hello everyone and welcome back to TowerGate. It is day 308, Thursday, January the 11th, 2018. Thank you so much for tuning in. Well, let's go through the last 24 hours of information regarding the dossier, specifically regarding the transcripts of the interview, I guess you would say, that Glenn Simpson did with the Senate Judiciary Committee back in August of 2016. So now that we have those transcripts, although there are a few redactions in there, of course, they redacted, they redacted the names of the FBI agents that Glenn Simpson referred to as far as who Steele might have met with or who he knew or associated with. So there were some redactions of some FBI agents' names. We do know that. But we got most of the transcript, and so let's go through some of what we learned and see what we can think about it. We learned yesterday, thanks to the release of the transcripts of Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS, the following. We learned that Christopher Steele told Glenn Simpson that in his meeting with the FBI in Rome, Italy, in September of 2016, the FBI revealed to Christopher Steele that they were receiving information from someone in the Trump campaign, someone on the Trump campaign team, that was consistent with what they were hearing from Christopher Steele. So basically Glenn Simpson's telling us that, hey, I'm talking to Christopher Steele, and he says, yeah, the FBI is telling me that they got someone inside the Trump campaign that's basically giving them the same information I'm giving them. Why do you think that would be? Maybe because it was coming from the same source. That would be my guess. Maybe the source was the FBI or the Rotten Reverend Clinton. The Rotten Reverend Clinton. Never forget that, folks. When you get to the bottom and unravel this thing, you will find the Rotten Reverend Clinton right there. Trust me. We'll get there. Let's see. We learned that Glenn Simpson never brought up the names Bruce or Nellie Orr in his entire deposition or interview, nor was he asked. Why? Because in August of 2016, we hadn't learned about Bruce and Nellie Orr, but Glenn Simpson sure knew about Bruce and Nellie Orr. As you can see, the perps, these individuals that they'll be interviewing in Congress and have interviewed, will not be volunteering any information. You will have to pry it out of them. There's many things that Glenn Simpson did not say in his deposition. He told some lies, too. We now know they were lies because that was August 2016, and now we know some of the things that he said aren't true. Simpson tells us on page 174 in his testimony that the FBI flew Steele to Rome on July the 5th, 2016, for a debriefing. Now, July 5th, 2016, wasn't that almost the day or the day before Comey? It was either the day or the day after Comey let the Rotten Reverend Clinton off the hook. That's interesting timing. I wonder if that flight was commercial or on the FBI private commercial jet. Did they fly it over to the UK, pick up Chris Steele, fly him to Italy? Who knows? But that's what's in the testimony of Glenn Simpson. The FBI flew Steele to Rome on July the 5th, 2016 for a debriefing. Wonder who that debriefing was with. Probably someone in counterintelligence would be my guess. Maybe Peter Been Stroking Us. be my guess. Glenn Simpson of Confusion GPS stated in his testimony that no one at Confusion GPS speaks Russian. That's what he said in August 2016. No one at Fusion GPS speaks Russian. Despite the fact that we are now told that Nellie is fluent in reading, writing, and speaking Russian. A Russian expert. Remember, it was August 2016 when this interview went down. And we didn't know about Bruce and Nellie in August of 2016. But Glenn Simpson sure did. You think he's lying? We learned that Glenn Simpson has known Senator John Magoo for many years. That's what he says in his testimony. We learned that Glenn Simpson has known and worked with David Kramer, Magoo's right-hand man, since his days at the Wall Street Journal. We learned from Sarah Carter and Byron York that Simpson was talking about Papadopoulos as the inside man that was feeding the FBI information. That's what most people think, that it was Papadopoulos. He fits right in perfectly. So, as a result of the new information, I have the following questions. Number 1, who was Christopher Steele's FBI contact in Rome? I think that we should take a close look at the visa and travel records of Peter Benstrokinus and see if maybe Peter took a trip to Rome, Italy, in June or September of 2016. That's what I would do. If Glenn Simpson is telling the truth in his testimony and he stopped working for his client, the Right Reverend Clinton, after the November 8th election, then who paid for the remaining memo? The most slanderous and damaging one. The one that really turned the dossier from a National Enquirer fluff piece into a intelligence document. That was the final memo, and it looked to be put together by someone other than Christopher Steele. He says in the court filings against in the lawsuit with Mr. Gubarev that he never got a chance to substantiate or verify the final memo. It came to him. He didn't go in search of it. It found him. That's what he says. Who do you think wrote that final memo? Could it be Mr. Simpson? Maybe John Kramer and Senator Magoo? Peter Benstrokinus? There's a host of characters in this inside cabal. Any of them, or several of them together. That's what it looks like to me. Is it not, correction, it's not unusual for the FBI to pay informants and assets. They do it all the time. The FBI has a pretty big budget that they can use to pay informants or anyone they want. But the thing about this is that the FBI in this case, they pay an informant or an asset in this case, and that person turns out that they're working for, in this case, a political candidate for president. And so you're really paying an informant who's actually already working for another client. It happens to be someone running for president who you support and you hate the other guy. And so you start paying this person. That would be different, see. So you wouldn't think that the FBI would pay an informant who has that kind of conflict, nor would they put themselves in that kind of conflict of interest. And of course, we'll be finding out, I'm sure, very soon if the FBI did pay. But somebody paid, because according to Glenn Simpson, he says he quit working for his client, that would be the Rotten Reverend Clinton, after the election. That was November 8th. But we know the final memo came afterwards. Who paid for that? Here's some good questions. Does Glenn Simpson know Papadopoulos? Did he ever talk to him or email him? Have a little ham radio conversation? How about David Kramer? Did David Kramer know Papadopoulos? Or, well, he certainly knew Glenn Simpson. We learned that from his testimony. How about this question? What if there was no inside man at all? Just a drunken conversation with Papadopoulos and a high-level Australian diplomat. Of course, then you would have to ask, who put that together? That doesn't just happen. No, it doesn't. Uh-oh. If Papadopoulos was an FBI plant, then why did Uncle Bob, the executioner, Muller, charge him? Work out a plea deal in exchange for cooperation, wearing a wire for the FBI. Yet Muller charges him with a crime of lying to the FBI, and then the FBI is arresting their very own Patsy. Now that's something new. Papadopoulos, if you run this line of the story, working for the FBI as an informant, but then along comes Mueller in his investigation, interviews Papadopoulos, the FBI informant, finds he lied, even though he was actually working for the FBI, essentially lying, playing a role, maybe saying things he was told to say, doing things he was told to do, being directed, that type of thing. So you have this FBI informant working for you, doing this thing, and then you turn around and charge him with lying to the FBI. One of your own informants. So Mueller is charging the FBI's own informant with the crime and getting him to cooperate, to participate in another type of crime. You see, this is crazy. You see where this is going? Here's something that's not crazy. Project Veritas. There's a big bombshell coming out that's going to have a major impact on Twitter. It appears that their latest undercover operation, which has been going on now for about a year, we got a little tease of it today. We heard an audio clip from a senior network security advisor from Twitter. And the audio clip I heard, he stated that he would be more than happy to turn over Trump private communications to the DOJ. And it appears that there's many more bombshells coming in the next couple of days. 3, 4, 5, I don't know how many drops there's going to be, but in the next 3, 4, 5 days, Project Veritas is going to be dropping some heavy bombs on Twitter. And it appears that this could be serious enough to result in major civil lawsuits, certainly high-level people being fired. I don't know about criminal, but certainly a lot of civil legal action would be in the works, I would think. You could have a massive class action lawsuit, billions and billions of dollars. Probably will result in hearings in Congress. They'll probably try to get the FCC to step in. There could be some penalties. Certainly there's violations of terms of service if what we're being told in the tease is true, which is that Twitter people have a culture of using people's private information to do various things which will not please the users, who are the customers in this case. And they will certainly have a case in court, a big civil suit against Twitter. Good. So, I want to end this video by asking a question, and hopefully in the comments section, you can all chime in and tell me what you think. And I've broken it down to basically 5 choices. So I will read the questions twice. I will read them the first time just so you can hear them, and then the second time so you can decide. And then, hopefully, in the comments section, you will all tell me which of these you think is the most likely regarding George Papadopoulos. So, trying to figure out exactly who was Papadopoulos and what was he doing. What was going on with Papadopoulos? Bit of a mystery right now. So, I'll give you 5 possible options. Option A, was Papadopoulos an FBI plant? Someone the FBI supported and directed to carry out activities for the operation. That's A. B, was Papadopoulos planted by the rotten Reverend Clinton? That's B. C, was Papadopoulos planted by David Kramer and Senator Magoo? C. Was Papadopoulos just an advisor, a volunteer on the Trump campaign that just got drunk and made some stuff up and told it to an Australian diplomat in a bar in the UK, and then fed the FBI information during the summer and fall of the 2016 election? That's D. It's a long one. And E. Was Papadopoulos working for Glenn Simpson and Fusion GPS? There's your options, or it could be something else. Something else, let me know what you think that is. I'll go through them one more time so you can select. A. Was Papadopoulos was Papadopoulos an FBI plant? Someone the FBI supported and directed to carry out activities for the operation. Was Papadopoulos an FBI plant? Someone the FBI supported and directed to carry out activities for the operation. There you go. A. That would be A. Was he a plant by the FBI? B. Was Papadopoulos planted by the rotten Reverend Clinton to plant these fake Russia stories and to spread it? Was Papadopoulos planted by the rotten Reverend Clinton? That would be B. Next, C. Was Papadopoulos planted by David Kramer and Senator Magoo? Was Papadopoulos planted by David Kramer and Senator Magoo? Is C. D would be, was Papadopoulos just an advisor, a volunteer on the campaign that just got drunk and made some stuff up and told it to an Australian diplomat in a bar in the UK in May of 2016, and then fed the FBI information during the summer and the fall of the 2016 election? That would be D. And E. Was Papadopoulos working for Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS? Was Papadopoulos working for Glenn Simpson of Fusion GPS? That would be E. Or was it something else? What do you think? Type your answer into the comment section. Let me know what you all think. We kind of get a consensus of where everybody is, because we really don't know. Certainly, Papadopoulos was planted by somebody. I think that's pretty obvious. Seems unusual that he would join the presidential campaign to support President Trump, and at the same time he's doing that, he's feeding damaging information to the FBI, Russian diplomats, and a drunken stupor in a bar, while failing the whole time to ever mention it to Trump. Of course, we talked about last night the fact that the FBI, or the intelligence briefing that Trump was supposed to get nearly every day if he wanted it, once he became the Republican nominee, never was any of this mentioned to him about Papadopoulos being a member of his advisor on his team. Never mentioned. Should have been. So it's really hard to say. I mean, does the FBI have an informant planted in a operation, and then after the fact they charge him with lying to the FBI? See, there's some very there's some very big problems with just about all of these things. I could certainly see the Rotten Reverend Clinton. I mean, if you want to get really spy novel on yourself, you could say, well, you know, the Rotten Reverend Clinton's sitting back. She's running the show. She's running this game. Her and people around her. And running a little counter intel operation. And this could also have been counterintelligence. The FBI, Peter Ben Stokeness, could have been running this. Andrew McCabe, where they actually work both sides of the game. You know, it could have been the Rotten Reverend Clinton or any of them sitting back. They're hiring Fusion GPS, and they got Christopher Steele working to get this information. Well, they simply hire another intelligence firm or put their own plant, their own guy, their own operative, insert him in as an informant or as a source of this information, and they feed the guy that they're paying what he needs, the information he needs. So they're funneling it to him, creating that loop right back to Fusion GPS. So, and again, this would be run through the Rotten Reverend Clinton, through Mark Elias, through Fusion GPS. They bring in this other guy because there's something going on here that's more than just Papaglopoulos being an informant, more than just him working for the FBI. There has to be something else going on because it doesn't work. So logically. So we really don't know exactly what the truth is right now. But we are sure going to get there. We just keep unraveling more and more. Every day it's tick-tock, tick-tock, drip-drop, drip-drop. So thank you so much for tuning in. We'll see what falls out of the tree next. And I'll be back tomorrow and see what drip drops next. Thanks for tuning in. You guys have a good night. See you. Bye.